Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video tutorial, we will analyze the process and the rules we must follow in order to create our own user real chord and user real bass for the Ketron event. But first, let's talk about what real chord and real bass are. Real chord and real bass are a Ketron innovation, which is appearing for the first time ever in an arranger keyboard, thus enabling the user, in addition to classic MIDI programming used to create a style, to have two additional audio channels alongside the MIDI channels, and of course alongside Real Drum, which also uses audio files. We would characterize them as audio stem channels, which are included in the style channels. Of course, since the real chord, much like real bass, is included in the style channels, this means it'll follow the chord changes like a classic MIDI chord. On the other hand, real bass is used exclusively for bass needs, but we will deal with real bass in another video tutorial. In this video, we will deal exclusively with the real chord. So, let's get right down to seeing how this entire thing operates. First of all, the event's real chord works and is managed in the same way as the real drum, which here and also in the older SD9, 90, 60 models has exactly the same way of operation. That is, each folder represents and contains all the WAV elements or loops that each separate rhythmic pattern needs, but the essential differences between real chord and real drum are the following. So, real drum contains only drum and percussion WAV loops, while real chord requires loops from chords which can come from any instrument. For example, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, piano, synthesizer, a whole mix of instruments and anything else we can imagine. Other than that, in the real drum, we cannot have multiple rhythmic patterns in each variation, while in real chord as well as in real bass, we can have a completely different pattern in each variation. That is, while in each style we can have up to one real drum, in the case of real chord we can have another real chord in each variation. Also, we should emphasize that real chord as well as real bass and drum do not require RAM to load, but play directly from the SSD, so essentially they are streaming in real time, where they are automatically synchronized with a MIDI clock. Next up, each WAV loop represents one chord recorded by the respective instrument. The sample rate should be 16-bit by 44 kHz in stereo or mono format. In order for the system to recognize the chords we play in the event, each WAV loop must have a name based on the chord it is recorded on. For example, to a C major, we should give the name Major C, to a D minor, minor D, and so on. In a list that will be displayed at the end of the video, all 13 different chords supported by real chord will be described in detail, as well as the name of each individual chord. Next up, in each folder, the name of the rhythmic pattern it contains should be displayed, as well as the number of the original tempo, or BPM, that it was recorded on, for example, ballad_75. Also, when we have two or more identical rhythmic patterns but with some variations, it would be good to separate them with capital letters and not with numbers so as to not confuse the system. For example, Ballad 75A or Ballad 75B or C, etc. Here are some complete examples of real chord naming appearing on the screen right now. We also need to remember that it is not necessary to record all 13 different chords for our user real chord to work. For example, we can only record major, minor, 7/7. Of course, in this case the system will only play these chords in real chord, but with a smart combination with MIDI chords this gap can be covered. Additionally, it is necessary to have the sharp in the chords because the system does not transpose them on its own, so the sharp has to be present. Of course, if we don't want to re-record them, we can easily audio transpose the pure notes through the DAW we're working on, like Cubase, Logic, Reaper, etc. For example, we can transpose the C major through pitch shift as C major sharp and then make it an audio export, thus creating the WAV files of the tracks. Along with all the chords, we can also include some chord sequences which will have the role of intro and ending. In these files, we can include some sequence of orchestrated chords as well as include some solo musical phrases from any instrument we wish in the mix of WAV loops. When there are intro and ending in the user real chord, then the system automatically places them in intro 3 and ending 3. In this case, it is possible to only have 2 chord versions, and these are major and minor WAV loops. When the process is complete and we have the user real chord rhythmic pattern ready, we don't need to do anything other than just copy it to the event. The copying process is as follows. After we have connected the event to our computer via USB Type-B cable, press Media PC Connect, and after the event disk appears on our computer, copy the user real chord file we want to the user modeling real chord folder as shown below. The event disk appears on our computer with the name USBack. After the copying is complete, safely remove the hardware from our computer, and finally press PC Connect again from the event until the connection is terminated. After the event's connection to the computer is terminated, simultaneously press ARA, ARB, and Enter to refresh the User Modeling tab. That's it! Now the user real chord you created will be available via View Modeling in any style and any variation we wish. The following is a detailed chart with all the chord names. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and wait for more updates regarding the Catron event and many other things as well. See you in the next video.